out there on the YouTube? I'm Logan here on the here for the Log Show here on WSJU Radio as the live stream is up for those of you tuning into live stream. Sorry about the view. I had some camera problems beforehand. I got to use the laptop camera here, so we got a little bit of a different angle here, a little bit more up close and personal with me today. But we do have the live stream going. We got me going. We got a lot to talk about today. NFL, not much going on in my world of the NFL. Has a little bit has gone on. I will talk about that. I will go into a little bit of the draft, the research that I've done personally on the draft to kind of see what's going on there, how I feel, who's going to do what, and what's going on there in the draft. Not only that, some Commanders news with what's going on with their sale. Jalen Hurts, congratulations to him. I will talk about that deal. Also, some trade news happened today, so I will talk about that. NBA playoffs, we got that in full swing with the Knicks. Knicks game 1 was the other day. They got game 2 tonight. Nets Sixers game 2 was last night for those Nets fans. They fell down 0-2. I'll talk about that, and I will talk about many of the other series going on and what I saw around the league, NBA, as more of a casual fan, my opinions and how I felt going on, what was going on, stuff like that, just in general. Not only that, I will talk a little bit about baseball. Obviously, baseball season is now in full swing. So we got Yankees talk a little bit. We got a little bit of Mets talk. And not only that, hockey playoffs are also in full swing. Islanders game 1 was yesterday. Sadly, they lost. I will talk about that a little bit. Rangers Devils game 1, I believe, was the other day, I want to say. No, game 1 is tonight at 7 o'clock for the Rangers and the Devils. That is an exciting one. Two very hot teams. Obviously, two of the local teams here, two rivals, two historic rivals. This will be a great series, a young team versus definitely an older, more experienced team, but both teams are teams that people think can go win the cup this year. So that's a very exciting thing to look forward to as well. But obviously, we're going to slow it down. I just went over the rant of things we're going to go over today. I want to go back to the NFL now. We're going to start there. And I want to go on my little NFL rants that I love to go on so often because it is just me alone in this room. So I will start with this. I'm going to start with the news that came out yesterday. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts for becoming the highest paid player in NFL history. He gets 5 years, $225 million. It's not all guaranteed. I believe about, if I remember correctly, around 175 million was guaranteed in the contract. The rest is in incentives and stipulations, Super Bowls, MVPs, etc., whatever they are. I didn't read the contract verbatim. But congratulations to Jalen Hurts. I feel well-deserved. I was actually having this debate earlier with one of my friends about Jalen Hurts, which is the whole debate is Jalen Hurts, is he a system quarterback? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do feel that Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. A lot of people do feel Jalen Hurts only can succeed in that Eagles offense. But nonetheless, I don't necessarily agree with that because of this. And people say this, right? They say they're not traditional. They say he's not a traditional pocket passer. And my first counter to that is always, well, if you think he's a system quarterback, how do you feel about Lamar? How do you feel about Lamar Jackson in that stance then? Because Lamar also in the same stance there, Lamar also is not a traditional passing quarterback. He can't fit into every offensive scheme that people love and fit into everything that people want to see out of a traditional quarterback nonetheless. But that's not the issue. The issue is he's not won an MVP yet, and he just came on. So he's going to have his haters. But I feel if you like Lamar, you have to like Jalen Hurts. Lamar and Jalen Hurts, I think, are very similar players. Honestly, in my opinion, I could argue that Jalen Hurts is less of a system quarterback than Lamar Jackson, who I love. I'm not arguing Lamar's greatness or success. I think Lamar and Jalen Hurts, I'll get into why I think they're so great and they're not quote unquote system quarterbacks in a second. I'm just talking to the people who do feel like they are system quarterbacks, or at least Jalen Hurts is. I think Jalen Hurts has a better throwing ability than Lamar Jackson for the most part. I think he's more accurate in the pocket, has better pocket presence in general, and is willing to stand in the pocket more than Lamar is. But my argument to both of that is, why would you not use that part of them? I understand, yes, historically it's not worked. Historically it's dangerous. He could get injured, this, that. All of those issues I understand. But also, when you really look at it and you think about it to yourself, if you're an NFL coach, right? You're coaching an NFL football team, the highest level of football, right? And you have these players, this player and Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts, right? You got these players, and you're gonna not use that athletic ability. Like you're gonna look at Lamar Jackson and tell him not to run. Like why? Like you're gonna look at Lamar Jackson and go, nah, I don't like that for my system. Don't run. Lamar, don't run. Like, who are you? You're just stupid at that point. And I feel it's the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Yes, like you would be stupid to not use that athleticism in your scheme, to not adjust your scheme to their skills and that athleticism, I feel. So I feel it's very well deserved, and I feel neither of them are system quarterbacks because, yes, in Buffalo's current offense, is Jalen Hurts going to fit? No. But in Baltimore's current offense, is Aaron Rodgers going to fit? No. Aaron Rodgers isn't running a read option. You know what I mean? But is Aaron Rodgers a quote-unquote system quarterback? No. Nobody ever called Aaron Rodgers a system quarterback by any means. But it's current schemes you're looking at that coaches use to fit their players. If the Bills drafted Lamar Jackson, I think Sean McDermott's a smart enough coach that their offense would look similar to Baltimore's. And you could argue he stretches Josh Allen's athletic ability and wants him to run more than he's able to, than that his athletic ability lets him to. And Josh Allen's very athletic. But ever since Lamar's come to the league, now Josh Allen has designed run plays. So, I don't know. I don't know if you have this argument about a non-system quarterback with either of those two. So congratulations to Mr. Hurts and his contract that I think is well-deserved. I do want to see it, like I said. I think it's well-deserved based off last year. I would love to see another year of it before I say he's this great quarterback. But either way, it's the same. I feel it's deserved based off last season. You took a team to the Super Bowl. Leader of the team, MVP candidate. Arguably could have won it, and Mahomes had the year he had. Mahomes had like 1,500 yards and like 35 touchdowns. But you could still argue, like, it's well-deserved. Congratulations, Mr. Hurts, Mr. Jalen Hurts. Other news, the Commanders, I don't know if the sale ever became official, but I know they were rumored to be close to a deal with, I don't remember the dude. It's a group with Magic Johnson, and I believe this dude named it's like Zach something. But nonetheless, it gets Dan Snyder out of the league, which I'm going to run over for you NFL fans or you people who don't really know the whole spiel of Dan Snyder that I've gone over. I feel like I've gone over definitely a couple times on the show. I've gone over the spiel of Dan Snyder, I'll call it. The Schneider Spiel. Oh, I got the name for it. It's the Schneider Spiel. But yeah, Dan Schneider, it's going to be good that the Commanders are going to get sold. I went to their stadium. Stadium's a piece of junk, and Snyder refuses to do anything. Steals money, sexual harassment, You know what I mean? All the bad stuff. Nothing good comes out of that building that Dan Snyder was running. So it's going to be good to just get him out of the league, get those problems out of the league, and move forward into a new era that down there in Washington. Hopefully, if it moves fast enough, the new owner can say, screw it. Give me Lamar. Lamar makes that team a contender. You put Lamar in Washington, contender. You put Lamar in New York, contender. You put Lamar in a lot of places. Indianapolis, contender. I don't get it. I don't get why people aren't all over Lamar being on the non-exclusive tag. That's a rant I've gone over a bunch. But nonetheless, Dan Snyder to be potentially most likely out of the league. The Commanders, for you looking, I know all you folks are interested in buying NFL teams. For all you looking, the Commanders are selling for a measly $6.3 billion, for trash of a franchise, bottom of the league, every problem in the world that you can inherit from an NFL franchise. You want to do that, it only is going to cost you $6.3 billion. That's it, folks. But good to get Dan Snyder out of the league, no matter how much the cost. What else is going on in the NFL? Oh, Buda Baker requests a trade. That was last week. I believe that was on like Thursday of last week, maybe Friday of last week. He requested a trade. I remember seeing something over the weekend that said the Cardinals denied the request. I don't know if that was true. I haven't seen a lot of reports on it. I really only saw the one. Like, I saw one tweet about it and was just like, oh, I took note. So I took note of that, definitely. But Buda Baker, Buda Baker requests a trade. And that's definitely big, for the Cardinals and what's going on. Yeah, definitely big for the Cardinals because he's a leader in that locker room 100%. For those of you who watched Hard Knocks mid-season, I know a lot of people didn't this year. It wasn't that popular this year as it was last year with the Colts. But definitely you saw how much of a leader in the locker room that Buda Baker was. He was a leader of that defense. A Jamal Williams type player. I said I went on a rant about that when the Saints signed him, about how good of a leader Jamal Williams is. A Jamal Williams type leader where he's vocal in the locker room. He's going to get you hyped. He wants to win at the end of the day, and that's really what he wants. And that's why he's requesting a trade, is he wants his money. He wants to win. And it's not happening in Arizona. They had to fire Cliff Kingsbury this year. There's all these Kyler Murray issues. D-Hop wants out. J.J. Watt just retired, who was a big part of their defense. Chandler Jones left a couple of years ago. Chandler Jones left a couple of years ago, but still, just like the Cardinals haven't been winning, even though they've been expected to. So they're in a weird position now with this whole Buda Baker thing. I think it'd be great for Buda Baker to get out. I think it'd be really interesting to see where he could go. There's a lot of places I could see he could go. Not only he requested a trade, Devin White requested a trade later, like Wednesday last week, maybe late Tuesday after the show last week. He requested a trade as well. That's very interesting. I like to see him in maybe like Denver. Something like that would be very interesting for Devin White. Now, both him and Buda Baker on the trade block. A lot of teams I could see, Devin White. I could see New England going for a Devin White. I think that would fit very well. Same thing with a Buda Baker. I could see a Miami going for a Buda Baker, go for another piece to really cement that secondary in Miami and really try to get over on a division that's now going to have two very elite quarterbacks if Aaron can keep that elite play up. So very, very interesting with those two being on the trade block. But yeah. Also, news earlier today, the Los Angeles Rams and Pittsburgh Steelers agreed to a deal pending on the physical. I do not know. I'll actually check my phone right now for everybody watching, see if I got Rappaport telling me if this whole Steelers deal is done and official. But I will tell you exactly what the deal is. And all right, so the deal has been finalized. So the Steelers will pay $5 million of Allen's. They trade for Allen Robinson. They trade a late round pick with a pick swap. The Steelers only are expected to pay $5 million of that big deal that Allen Robinson got last year from the Rams. That I don't remember the deal off the top of my head, but a pretty nice pickup there for the Steelers. It is still pending the physical from what I'm seeing, though. But yeah, a very good pickup for Pittsburgh. I think a very good weapon for Kenny Pickett. I think a good veteran wide receiver to be in that locker room for Deontay Johnson, for George Pickens. You still have Najee Harris. You have Freiermuth at tight end. So you got weapons definitely in Pittsburgh now for Kenny Pickett, who had a year, sat a little bit behind Mitch Trubisky. Definitely started off very slow, but started to heat up towards the end of the year. You know, they ended up with that winning record, kept that Tomlin winning record streak alive for them in Pittsburgh. So very, very good for them. And I honestly say a solid pickup. Yeah, Allen Robinson did not do that well at all in Los Angeles last year, but I feel like that might have just not been a scheme fit. Whereas I just did go on this whole rant about fitting your scheme to certain players. That holds the truest for your quarterback. Once you start getting to the second wide receiver on the team, you're not adjusting your scheme for said player anymore. So I feel like that wasn't a scheme fit. I think he fits better in Pittsburgh. I think he fits better in that offense. That's more of a short route offense that could have him sneak on those deep routes and have George Pickens and Deontay Johnson run slants and ins and posts and really have him sneak in on those outside routes to get open every once in a while, make big plays, make red zone plays, etc. that we saw the Allen Robinson in Chicago do. So it'd be very fun to see that, something interesting this year to add more spice up there into the AFC North and really see what's going on there, what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So what else are we going to talk about in the NFL? I think all I have left really to talk about here in the NFL is, let me get the exact date for you so I can have a whole little intro here, because I think I want to say it starts the 27th. All right. In just about 1 week, in 10 days. No, not 10 days. 9 days. We will see dreams be made. Young men who have been dreaming of the day. The NFL draft will happen. It starts on April 27th. And everybody has been talking about it. And to me, the most important mock drafts of all mock drafts, the one that I pay the most attention to, the one I recommend for anybody who cares about my opinion, which me as a lonely show here on a radio in St. John's University, I don't know how many people do, but I always recommend the Schrager draft, mock draft, if you want to see it, because he only does about 3 of them. And for some reason, this man, Peter Schrager, has his connections. Shout out Peter Schrager. You know, someone I look up to, definitely, you know, so shout out him. Did respond to me on Twitter back in the day. Young sophomore Logan responded to me, you know, told me, you know, do your research, kid. No more than the next person. You'll make it in this business. That's what I'm trying to do. But that's not why I like his mock draft. It's because for some reason it's ridiculously accurate. He has friends in the league, not connections in the league, which I feel like is slightly different, if you know what I mean. He's like personal friends, and he kind of uses that in his mock drafts and in nothing else. He doesn't use that against people in reporting at all, which is why I respect him so much and why people do respect him so much, is because he does hold secrets. But when it comes to mock drafting and people ask him to mock draft, that it's what he does. He does a very good job at drafting, at mock drafting, because of his connections and who he's talking to and who he's with and all of that. So in his mock draft, he has He has Bryce Young going first overall, which I find very interesting with the whole CJ Stroud thing. I'm more of a CJ Stroud fan personally. I mean, I do find it hard to choose between the two because I have this weird evaluation of quarterbacks, which is definitely an unfair evaluation of quarterbacks, but it is yet to prove me completely wrong, except in maybe one or two situations. But it's um quarterbacks, there's no such thing as QBU, but you see quarterbacks being put out from universities every year. And those are the quarterbacks that tend not to be great. As weird as it says. You always see every other year an Ohio State guy go high in the draft, or an Alabama guy go high in the draft, or like quarterback wise, because they're winning national championships. Or you're going to start seeing it's going to start slipping up that, like right now, we're in the period of time where it's the H.A. McCarrons of Georgia, where, Stenson Bennett's going to go in the fourth round. But before you know it, just going to the Georgia guy. And it scares me because they tend to just be like, you have so much successful people around you on your team that you get drafted to a bad situation and you don't know what it feels like to have people who aren't the best in the world, the best in your league around you at the time. Like you don't have, you know what I mean? You don't have the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 tackles on your roster. You don't have the number 2 and 4 guard on your roster. You have bottom of the league players. It is what it is. Like you're getting drafted to Carolina, who made moves luckily and traded up. But like if you look at that, it wasn't an ideal situation. You might be drafted to Houston. Houston is not an ideal situation at all. So there's a lot of interesting situations for these quarterbacks. I think the best situation for any of these quarterbacks would be Indianapolis. Personally, I think if I'm CJ Stroud or I'm Bryce Young, I hope they trade up to 2 and draft me. As weird as it says, I don't want to be one. I think Carolina is not a terrible situation to go into, but I think it's a very new situation to go into. I do like Frank Reich a lot down there, definitely, and all that. But there's a lot going on in Carolina. There's a lot in this division from an NFC South fan that it's just a nitty gritty division. And with Derek Carr in it, with Baker Mayfield in it, who's a nitty gritty player, with whoever's going to be playing quarterback for if it's Desmond Ritter. But Atlanta's been making moves on the defensive side of the ball. The Saints secondary needs improvement, but their front seven is one of the best in the league. So you look at that, and Carolina's maybe not the most ideal situation when if you look at an Indianapolis, you look at a team that already you have a Michael Pittman Jr., you have Jonathan Taylor, you have Quentin Nelson and one of the best O-lines in the league, an O-line that ranked number 1 in the league, I believe, 2 years ago. You have a very, very good defense with Shaq Leonard and DeForest Buckner that might be part of the trade, so you might have to let go of him, but still you have Unique Ngakoue up front there. You did trade Stephon Gilmore, but still you have definitely solid players in that secondary, younger players. You have tight end, what's his name? I can't remember the tight end's name. But I think Indianapolis is a very good situation for any of these quarterbacks. I think it's definitely interesting. And I think where you really start to really raise the eye is if the hypothetical. I know Schefter, if anybody saw it, it went very viral, that Schefter bet Orlovsky bet my boy Orlovsky $10 that he will that quarterbacks will not go 1-2 if the Texans stay at 2, which I find really interesting that if the Texans stay at 2, they won't draft a quarterback. You have Davis Mills, who's not, Dougie Davis Mills ain't terrible, but I don't know. I don't find it that interesting necessarily in that, like, oh, Dougie Mills, So that's definitely one thing. That's definitely a way to think about it. Anyway, sorry, but it could all be definitely could just all be smoke and mirrors, really, because that's all the draft is. They wanna trick you. They want to put stuff in the media because other people are wondering what's happening and what's going on and what they're gonna do. Obviously, so the Texans could be completely lying, and they could love one of the quarterbacks and just not want Indianapolis to trade up. You know what I'm saying? And not want, or maybe they want Carolina to arguably feel more pressure of someone trading up, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things there, in my opinion, definitely. But the draft is an interesting scenario. You also have who's going to be the third quarterback taken off the board if the situation arises that the Texans have been lying this whole time. And you got let's say I'm going to go off mock drafts. Let's say you go Young one because that's who everyone still has going one. CJ Stroud ends up going to Houston. Houston Sherrod everyone. Oh wow, woo, whoopee! Houston tricked us all. They draft quarterback, right? Now I don't see Arizona. I definitely at that point I don't see Arizona drafting a quarterback. I could see if you're Indianapolis being scared of Arizona drafting a quarterback because they end up in a situation like they did with Rosen, and they end up with like a this guy might not ever come again, which they were wrong about the first time because Kyler isn't all that they thought he was. So maybe you look at that and you're like, oh, uh, maybe they get scared, Maybe they get and are scared to draft the quarterback if he is there. And if you're Indianapolis, that helps you not want to trade up. But Houston, nonetheless, let's say they draft a quarterback. Do you go Anthony Richardson at 4? Do you trade back at that point if you're Indianapolis? That's where you get very interesting. I don't know if those of you saw Jim Irsay's tweet. I believe it was 2 days ago, where he did the whole draft time is the best time of year. I'm Jim Irsay now. Sorry, this ain't Jerry Jones that you guys think it is. This is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones slightly higher pitch. This is Jim Irsay. But you know, draft season. This is the tweet. This is the quote. This is the tweet. Draft season is a very, very fun type of year. Let me get the actual tweet up so I could quote this exactly and not misquote my man, Mr. Irsay. Where are you, Ian? Where are you? Where are you? Mr. Rappaport's tweets. Here, I'll look up. But yeah, it was where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Come on. Jim Irsay loves talking. Jim Irsay is great at this whole social media thing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what Jim Irsay said. By the way, posted pictures of only quarterbacks. For the 23 draft, we got many options. Many options. With the number 4 pick, we could stay put and take a quarterback. Or trade up and take a quarterback. Or trade down and maybe take a quarterback. Or not. All options are on the table for us. We like our position and are very excited. Fire up. That's what Mr. Irsay said. That's what Mr. Irsay said to you Indianapolis Colts fans out there. I know I'm on New York radio, but still, to you Colts fans out there, that's what Jim Irsay is saying while he is sitting there at number 4. So what's going to happen there is very, very interesting, and who knows what they're going to do. I think that's the best spot for one of the top 2 guys. I think the Colts should say screw it and make a move. I saw the mock that trade that I've been seeing is DeForest Buckner. I don't know how much I love that. DeForest Buckner is a big part of your defense, but if that's what it needs for you to get your franchise quarterback, it's worth it. 100%. Case in point, if and or but, nothing more, nothing less. Don't need to beat around the bush there. Don't think I do. At all. So yeah. That's all I really have for the draft. Do you go Hendon Hooker? Hendon Hooker would be really interesting. He's been shooting up draft boards recently. I saw him go last couple months ago. He's in like the second round. Now all of a sudden he's going 11, 12, 15. He's going above Will Levis, so I think that's really interesting. I think you also have Anthony Richardson. I would steer clear. I know no NFL teams listening to me. I would steer clear personally. Will Levis. I see Mitch Trubisky 2.0 there, which isn't terrible if you want to make the playoffs once and have a very mediocre quarterback, but I don't think anybody does. So, I mean, as a Saints fan, I'm hoping Carolina pulls that off and does something stupid like that. But the draft is going to be very interesting, and I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. I really can't. Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on there, and it's going to be very, very fun to see for a lot of us, for a lot of people. But I'm going to move on from that. I'm going to move on from the NFL. I think I might have a little bit of a draft special next week, depending on if I could get a couple guests on this show that know what they're talking about draft wise, or at least are excited for what their team's going to do. Looking forward for that type of stuff. But you never know. You never know. Could end up just being me talking about the draft for a half hour. Could never know. So I'm going to move on from the draft on that point. Sorry, fix the mic. There we go. On that point, I'm going to move on from the draft. I'm going to move on to the National Basketball Association, and I will start with last night's games. And I will start originally because I'm going to start with last night's games, mostly because if I'm going to be honest with you, I was unable to catch last night's games. A lot of the game, I was doing a lot of homework stuff, college student stuff, a lot of homework. My friend who's in the military, it was his last night having his PlayStation, wanted to send him off with a good one. I know you're not watching this, but Matt, have fun, bro. Good luck out there. Salute to you. But nonetheless, there were a lot of stuff going on. There was a mixed up the Knicks and Nets, and I said the Nets. But there was a Nets 76ers game. They played game 2 on the road in Philadelphia, the Nets, and they lose again to Philadelphia. I did watch some of the highlights today, and from what I see, no offense to Brooklyn, I don't know. Brooklyn's very good at home, so I'm not going to take anything away from them yet because it is weird to say that, but with where they are right now, it's just very interesting to see that they ended up staying in the playoffs after the trade. There's no way they were falling out of the playoffs once the trade happened. Around the trade deadline, they just had won too many games at that point. They were first in the East at that point, pretty much, or up there, first, second in the East. So they were playing pretty well at that point. And it got to the point where they were not going to lose. They were not going to fall out of the playoffs. But they did fall far enough down where they match up with the Sixers, who are a very good team. Embiid, over the 2 games, is averaging 23 points, 5 assists, 12 rebounds, which is insane. He had an insane game last night, almost had a 20-20 game, had 20 points, 7 assists, and 19 rebounds. So an insane game out of him, out of the potential MVP. Tyrese Maxey had a scoring clinic. He was shooting the ball very well. He had 33 points, no assists, and 3 rebounds. So the scoring was just on. I mean, it was a low-scoring game, but the Nets just couldn't keep up. Bridges and Cam Johnson were the only 2 players with over 20 points for the Nets. Cam Johnson had 28, 1 assist, 4 rebounds. Bridges had 21 last night. He's been averaging 23 over the 2 games. And it just seems like, I don't want to say the Nets are going to get swept, but from what I've seen in game 1 and game 2, the Nets don't seem to really have a very good chance in this series at all. It just doesn't really even seem that exciting to me for the Nets and this series. There's nothing that really interests me to watch it because I feel like the Sixers really have it on hold. I could see the Nets maybe stealing a game 3 or a game 4 at home, but I don't know if this series is going to go more than 5 from what I've seen, and that's really all I have to say about that. And on that note, I'm going to move on to the other game with the Warriors and the Kings. I might have to take back what I said last week when, I had my guest, I had Jalen on. He had me pick my finals pick. I picked a rematch of last year, which I really thought because I thought, yes, all right, I knew. I am a casual fan, but I did know going into that pick that the Warriors' road struggles were immense this year. The Warriors were absolutely terrible on the road this year. They could not put it together. They were the worst road team in the league. They were historically bad on the road this year. But I thought once playoff time came, the Warriors would put it together and put it, you know what I mean, and be able to win games. And I've seen nothing but the same Warriors team on the road that I saw in the regular season so far in game one. And from what I saw in game two, game two, arguably even worse with Draymond losing is cool. It's a very interesting situation there. I think giving Draymond a flagrant 2 was accurate and the right assessment to do. I think giving Draymond throwing Draymond out of that game, giving him a flagrant 2 was necessary for what happened and what he did. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I don't know if they should suspend him anything further or maybe a fine, but like nothing further than that. Because at the end of the day, Sabonis did hold on to his leg. He was going to fall on Sabonis and step on him no matter what. When you watch the replay, he definitely like lifted that leg up and boom, like put force into it. So it definitely was a malicious intent and malicious stomp. But nonetheless, you know, you see the Warriors, they're losing their cool. They're not having it all together. De'Aaron Fox is ripping them up defensively. De'Aaron Fox has been playing like an absolute monster. In their last game, De'Aaron Fox had, let me see, De'Aaron Fox last night had 24 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds. Domantas Sabonis also had 24. He had 4 assists and 9 rebounds. Malik Monk had 18 with 6 rebounds. So they were really playing all around very well. While the Warriors, you know, you got Wiggins. Wiggins put up his due diligence. Curry did his thing. But it's just like, I don't know, on the road, they're just not there defensively, and there's issues going on. I mean, down low, like Draymond and Kevon Looney have been playing well, but it's their perimeter defense has not been there at all in this series. And it's the same road team that we've been seeing. And with the Kings just having home court advantage, I wouldn't see why, you know what I mean? I wouldn't see why the Kings wouldn't be able to win this series at all. I just wouldn't be like, it just doesn't seem very logical to me how they would not be able to win this series with everything going on. I'm trying to fix this mic. I'm sorry. I apologize for that moment of silence. I was trying to fix a mic. But yeah, so that's all I really have about the games last night because all I really saw was highlights and that, and you know that, you know what I mean. And I saw game one of the Warriors series, so I was really going based off that with my little rant there. I didn't see game two, like I said. I haven't watched any of this Nets series because, like I said, none of it really interests me. I hate to be that guy, but it's just like none of it really, like, I feel like the Sixers kind of have it in the bag. So I'm going to move on to the New York team that I do like watching because they win basketball games on the road in the playoffs for the first time since 2013, behind 27 points from my man, big dog, Jalen Brunson. 21 points from my man, Stepharius Randle. Julius Randle. I stole that from TikTok, by the way. Shout out the TikTok creator who does that, who does those nicknames where, what do you say? He did one for Kawhi. What was it? It was Kawhi Leordan. Kawhi Leordan. Oh my God, bro. Shout out that dude. I don't remember his TikTok name. Shout out him on TikTok though. My boy, Julius Randle, he had 19 points, 4 assists. Not 21, he had 19, sorry. But yeah, he had 19 points, 4 assists, 11 rebounds. He had a double-double. Brunson had 27, 2 and 2. Brunson had an amazing second half. Definitely started off the game very slow, but had an amazing second half. He ends with 27 and, you know, hit some clutch baskets there. Julius Randle got a clutch free throw. Josh Hart came up big. He had 17, 2 and 10. Sadly, he will not be playing tonight due to a hand injury, but hopefully he could come back soon because he was a monster on the offensive boards for us Saturday. On a Saturday, he was a beast. And I cannot wait to watch game 2 at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, I will say this. We got to stop, Donovan Mitchell a little bit. You know, Spida. the Spider Man, Spider. He definitely dogged us. 38 points, 8 rebound or 8 assists, 5 rebounds. We got to slow that down. But when your next highest scorer is Darius Garland, we're playing good defense. I liked our rotations. Tom Thibodeau, for once, seemed competent in resting players. I know Brunson, we got into foul trouble early. Julius Randle's coming off that injury. Josh Hart got a little injured. So I know there's probably reason behind it. But nonetheless, he ran a rotation, a deep rotation that seemed to work a little bit. So he seemed to be doing that instead of playing someone, 46 minutes a night. And we're a deep team. And that's what we have to use. That's what we have against the Cavs over them. Was we have a deep, deep team, and we have to work with that deep team. You know what I mean? Use the next man up. Don't be afraid to use that next man up. And hopefully tonight, I think if we win tonight, we could get a sweep. Because I think if the Knicks going to the Garden up 2-0, I don't see them losing, man. I don't see the Knicks losing going up 2-0, going back to the Garden up 2-0. No way. The Cavs very, very, very much need this game, but we were able to steal game 1, which was huge. So hopefully we could steal game 2 tonight. If not, we go back into the Garden even. We stole home court advantage, which was all I needed to hear. All I need for the Knicks to have an advantage in this series. Hopefully they could get it out, but with the way that game 1 went, I expect every single game in this series to be an absolute dogfight and be able to go either way. And this is going to be a very, very fun series to watch. Tune in to game 2 tonight, everyone, please. 7:00 tonight, I believe, on or on ESPN. Please, the Knicks, Brunson, like I said, Brunson had an amazing second half. If he could do that, even half of that in the first half, it'll be hard to keep up with, especially with Randle. If Randle keeps playing the way that he played last game, like he played well, he didn't choke under the pressure like how I felt he did back when we played the Hawks in 2021 or whenever that was. So if they played how they played on Saturday, this series is going to be very entertaining and very fun to watch, and hopefully the Knicks could win in 6. I would hope it either be a sweeper in 6 as a Knicks fan, just because I want the Knicks to win in New York. I don't want them to win in Cleveland. But nonetheless, the day the Knicks win is going to be a great day in this city. If they win this series, it will be a great, great day in this city. Almost as great as today because you got many teams playing. You got the Knicks playing. You got the Rangers Devils game. You got a lot going on. I'm going to keep talking about the NBA playoffs, though, because there is a lot just going on in the playoffs. It's the playoffs, man. Playoffs. Who don't like the playoffs? The first game I actually want to talk about that surprised me. I didn't watch this game. I don't remember what I was doing necessarily, but game 1 of the Clippers Phoenix series where the Clippers were able to steal home court advantage. They got a big win. They won 115-110. I saw some clutch buckets by Kawhi Leonard. The Suns, a lot of people expected to be a very, very, very big threat going into this playoffs, but they come out and lose game 1 and be disappointing, as Kevin Durant teams usually are. Kawhi had 38 points, which is absolutely insane. But Russell Westbrook also, shout out to him. He had a huge impact. I saw that everywhere on social media. Clutch block at the end of the game on Devin Booker, playing absolute lockups for a city that he loves. It may not be the Lakers where he wanted it to be, but it's the Clippers, which is close enough to him. And an absolute animal. Eric Gordon went off. He was hitting bucket after bucket from what I saw in the highlights. It was a close game. This is also going to be another very entertaining series, a very good series. I feel like. I think the Suns got to get their crap together. I think they definitely got to get their crap together. KD and all them. They were undefeated with KD apparently until tonight, and I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird what goes on there with KD in the playoffs and all that. And yeah, it's interesting. It very much is. It very much is. But they got game 2 tonight. That's a 10:00 game. That's the late game. The next game is actually 7:30. Sorry for saying 7, but 7:30 tonight for the Knicks. 7:00 for the LA Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. which I think, like I said, will be a very, very interesting game, a very entertaining game. I think it'll be a close game, but I don't know because I want to say I can't say the same thing I said about the Clippers than I said about the Knicks because the Knicks thrive in the. I mean, the Knicks this year aren't the best home team, but the Knicks tend to thrive in the Garden, especially in the playoffs. I don't know about the same about the Clippers, especially in the Staples Center or whatever Crypto Center, whatever the hell it's called now. It's I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I don't know how that's also going to be interesting that the Clippers and Lakers are going to be home in their series at the same time. But that the Clippers get a big win in game one. They steal home court advantage along with the other LA team that I did just mention, the Lakers. They get a big win with a Ja Morant injury. He might be out for game two. I believe it was I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. I want to say his thigh. This is why we have phones, all right, people? That's why we have phones. Soft tissue bruise. Why is it not telling me where? Is it his rib? Oh, it was in his hand. It was in his hand. But yeah, he hurt his hand. But he might be out for game two, which is huge, actually. I think I don't know. I think Memphis could still win game two even without Ja. I think it'd be very interesting there. But not having Ja is definitely big it was big in game one, will be big for game two. Proved to be big, like I said, proved to be big in game one. But the Lakers played very, very well. Anthony Davis scared me with an injury. If anybody follows me on Twitter, please do. If you don't, at LikeUp10, by the way. But if you don't follow me on Twitter, I did tweet out. I was like, "Oh, Anthony Davis with an injury in the playoffs, like clockwork." But luckily, it was not like clockwork, and he was fine. He just took a bad fall. The score definitely made the game look a lot worse than the game was. It was a 2-point game throughout the whole game, but like the big point that I found very interesting was for the Lakers. It was their depth that showed up. Hachimura came up big. He had I think he had 22. He had 29 actually. Hachimura had 29. Austin Reeves also went off. I think he had 23. Anthony Davis had 22. So if the bench is going to play like they did for the Lakers without Ja, Memphis should be scared. Memphis should 110% be scared without Ja. But I don't know if Austin Reeves, no offense to Austin Reeves, I don't know if Austin Reeves is going to have 23 points in the playoffs and be the reason the Lakers are winning every night. Same thing with Roy Hachimura. Like, they're good players, but I don't know if they're going to be able to be the leading scorers every night. I think AD's got to step up a little bit. I think D'Lo played well. He had 19. He didn't play well in the play-in, but he had 19, so he hopefully can get going. If you could get him going, not even LeBron, if you could get him going, I think he's more of a consistent scorer than Austin Reeves can be, at least in these big-time games. I think D'Lo got that cold-blooded. I think he's cold-blooded. But nonetheless, the Lakers get that game one. They play game two tomorrow, actually, at 7:30 in Memphis. So that one will also be very, very, very fun to watch. And now for the biggest news in the playoffs, in my opinion, was Miami ends up getting the win over Milwaukee because Giannis gets a back injury. Now, from what I've heard, I've not heard any I'll look it up real quick for everyone because obviously, like I just said 2 seconds ago, this is why we got phones, right? But Giannis tweaked his back after a bad fall. And he didn't practice today from what I am seeing on the news tab here. And they're also optimistic that he'll be back for game two. So that's huge for the Bucks because the Bucks without Giannis would be very, very, very bad. The Heat end up getting a very big win with Tyler Hero. He ends up breaking his hand. He's most likely or not out for the playoffs, whether the Heat win this series or not. He's out 3 to 4 weeks, so it sucks for Tyler Hero, but he ends up breaking his hand. Shout out to him. He took a shot with that hand. It was not a very good shot, but did do that. So great, good job for him. But very, very, very good game for the Heat. They end up stealing home court advantage against the 1 seed Milwaukee and getting that surprise win, take a 1-0 series lead. Jimmy Butler played very, very well for Miami. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing that I warned about going into the play-in last week. He had 35 and 11 assists, so he played very well. But so did Chris Middleton. I'm not gonna I won't say that for a team that was Giannis-less. It seemed that most of their struggles were defensively, not offensively. Just Giannis's size wasn't there anymore, so they had no one really to stop Bam and stop Jimmy Butler from driving. Chris Middleton at 33, Bobby Portis at 21. So offensively, like I said, the Bucks played well. But without Giannis, there seemed to be a defensive gap that just wasn't there and just wasn't really wasn't exciting and wasn't like it wasn't or scary for the Heat to drive and get in the lane and go score. So it really helped probably their confidence, in all honesty. NHL playoffs started. Going there real quick for like a quick little bit before the show ends. We got a little bit of time left. We got like 10 minutes left. So going to the NHL playoffs, which started yesterday with 3 games. The Islanders lost 2-1. I didn't watch much of that game because, like I said, I was busy with stuff, homework, etc. A lot going on in my college life, to be completely honest with you guys. But I did watch the highlights of that game. Islanders scored a crazy goal that hit off the pad. That was a good one, but couldn't score besides that. The Canes were really rolling in that game. They end up winning 2-1. They take a 1-0 series lead on the Islanders. The Bruins, I caught a little bit of that game at the gym because they just had it on while I was working out there at the gym yesterday. They end up beating the Panthers 3-1. Not much of a surprise. The Bruins are a very, very good team from what I have heard and from what I have seen. The Wild end up taking a series victory. I don't really know much about that. The Kings beat the Oilers, who are a team that I really like. I'm a big Connor McDavid guy. I like him. I like Draisaitl, I believe, is also on that team. So that's that with the NHL playoffs that happened yesterday. So the Kings took a 1-0 series lead for those of you interested. And tonight, for you all very interested, I will be watching the NBA playoffs. Maybe I'll have a second stream with this Devils-Rangers game on, but that'll probably be the only hockey game I watch tonight. We got that game. We got the Lightning and the Maple Leafs. We got Jets Golden Knights. And you got the Kraken playing the Avalanche. So that's the hockey games tonight. All those game ones tonight seem to be very, very exciting for people and very exciting, especially that Rangers-Devils game. Who's not excited for that, in all honesty? A classic rivalry coming down there. And while I got these last 5-10 minutes here to talk, I'm going to talk a little bit about baseball. The Yankees and Mets, both teams have been rolling, or I don't want to use the term rolling for the Yankees because they've been winning and losing here and there, but they are the only team currently in the MLB to yet drop a full series. They've won every series that they have played in so far. I haven't watched much of the Mets, so the Mets I'm just going to touch on in a little bit. The Yankees I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant about. The Yankees, they play the Angels tonight. That should be a very fun game. Shohei Trout, but hopefully they should get that win against an Angels team that usually is struggling. But nonetheless, I don't know who's starting tonight. Yankees starter tonight. Yankees probable pitchers. MLB.com. I love it. According to MLB.com, they think Clark Schmidt is going to start tonight. So, definitely the lower part of our rotation, but I think the Yankees, their starting rotation is not the part we should be worrying about right now. Our relievers are an issue. I didn't watch much of the games this weekend. I did watch the game on Friday, and it was very aggravating watching us get to that hot 2-0 start with the Volpe home run and the Judge home run. And then as soon as we take Nestor out, like it's just they score 3 runs and then score another run the next inning. We lose 4-2. It's just like we need to have late game pitching if we're going to be in this pitching league. But nonetheless, hitting wise, Judge has been hitting pretty well. He has 5 home runs. He's batting 286. Rizzo has been batting absolutely insane. He's batting 315. He has 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. I think I looked it up over earlier. His OBS is like I think it's a 4.06 or 0.406, which is insanely good. He's been playing well. So those are the top 3 players for the Yankees right now. Volpe's been starting to get the nerves out of him. He's been starting to get extra base hits, hit home runs. He's been really vibing. So the Yankees are really, they're looking pretty solid this year, even though they haven't gone on like a run of wins. They've been winning pretty consistently and winning series and winning the majority of their games. So that's very, very interesting. The Mets are sitting at 11-6 right now. They won 6 of their last 7. They won a game the other day. They beat the Dodgers the other day, which is very good for them. The Dodgers are a very, very, very good baseball team. They also played, They played the Athletics on Friday and won 17-6. They've won 6 of their last 7. The last time they lost was a week ago today against the Padres, who's a very good team. But they play the Dodgers tonight at 10 o'clock, which will be a very, very fun, interesting game, definitely. That would be fun. So that's what's going on there in the MLB. You got the Yankees tonight. They play the Angels. You got the Dodgers, Mets tonight. You got, wow, what a night. My dad's been calling it the best night in New York sports. He's not wrong. You got the Rangers, Devils tonight. You got the Knicks playoffs tonight. You got a lot going on and a lot to watch. You got a basketball playoffs. If you're not necessarily a hockey fan, you got a lot of good basketball games tonight because you not only have the Knicks playoffs game, you also got Boston, Atlanta. Boston's very good. Like I said, you got that Phoenix game that's going to be great. If you are a huge hockey fan, those games look great. I've heard Toronto is pretty good this year. The Avalanche are coming off a Stanley Cup victory, so they're the reigning champs. So that's going to be a good game against the Kraken. So there's a lot going on, a lot to watch, and a lot to, really hedge your votes in, hedge your money in. Go bet if you're old enough. If you're 21, if you're under 21, please do not bet. And if you're in a state where it is not legal, please do not bet. But have fun. Look into the games. Watch sports tonight. It's a huge night in sports. Watch some playoffs. Watch some good basketball, some great entertaining NHL hockey. If you're just trying to get into hockey, I recommend watching this Devils-Rangers game tonight. It'll be fast. It'll be fun. It'll be scoring chances galore. So I recommend that. UFC, nothing really going on there. We had a Holloway fight this weekend that for you UFC hardcores was very entertaining. For you casuals, probably wasn't checking in if I'm going to be honest. But that was very entertaining. I know I talked about it last week. The next big event we got Cejudo versus Aljamain in Jersey. That'll be fun to watch. So I will catch everyone next week. I am Logan. This is the Log Show. I'm a Log Show on YouTube. Logan Likeb on Instagram. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Everybody, please check out the live stream sometime if you're listening on the radio. If you're listening on the live stream, please check out the radio, WSJU, iHeartRadio. This is Logan for the Log Show on WSJU Radio. I will catch y'all next week. Have a blessed week.